We have seen a number of proposals from private equity funds where the returns are really not calculated in a manner that I would regard as honest. And you can raise $10 billion in a fund and you get a 1.5% fee and you lock people up for 10 years. You and your children and your grandchildren will never have to do a thing if you are the dumbest investor in the world. Or all they're doing is lying a little bit to make the money come in.
I might be the idiot here, but as a PE founder, I disagree. Now, Buffett argues that he thinks it's dishonest how private equity fund managers report their returns. Why he feels this way is because the private equity firm doesn't calculate the return from day zero, the day that the investor makes the investment. Instead, the return is calculated once the money is actually invested in a particular company or into the actual fund. Now, I can actually see both sides to this. On the LP or the investor side, that money is legally obligated to the fund at some point. If they pledge $10 million, that $10 million, they could invest it, but it has to be entirely liquid so that within a day or 2 days or whatever the time frame is, if the private equity firm calls on the capital, they can provide it. So from that perspective, should that money be calculated when you're looking at total returns? I can see both ways. There's definitely some arguments for both. The second point that I disagree with more strongly is the criticism of fees. Now, with the typical 2 and 20 model, which the 2 and 20 model is 2% of the invested capital is paid as a fee to the fund manager. The 20 is 20% carried interest. So 20% of the excess return goes to the private equity fund manager. Now, what Warren argues is that for the fund manager, that 2% fee is free money, enough to get rich off of or whatever. Some of these funds, that 2% is a huge number. You know, if you have a $1 billion fund, $20 million a year, that's nothing to sneeze at. However, as exciting and life-changing that amount of money would be, when you look at the management fee, that 2%, there are a lot of expenses that are required by the fund manager in order to make those investments. There's due diligence expenses. There's the staff that's required to analyze and execute the transactions. So even though the headline number of 20 million is great, it's not all flowing into the pockets of the private equity fund manager. However, where private equity fund managers really do get rich is the carried interest. On a $1 billion fund, the carried interest could be several $100 million if the fund is very successful. There's a big difference in terms of the returns that a private equity fund manager gets as compared to a public equity fund manager. Generally speaking, if you look at investments in the US stock market, no matter what stocks you pick, as long as you pick a certain number of them, there's actually a fairly high correlation with the S&P 500 as a whole. In fact, one of the lines from a college professor I have that I remember, and I only remember like 3 or 4 lines that really stuck with me, was an investments professor. And what he said is, if you want to get rich investing in the stock market, pick one stock. He also said, if you want to lose all your money in the stock market, pick one stock. So again, within investing in public equities, there isn't as much variability and it all correlates surprisingly high to the return of the S&P 500 as a whole. Does that really make sense? Well, it kind of does, because as a public equity fund manager, your pool of potential investments is fixed. The only companies you can invest in are the public companies out there. Now, it doesn't have to be S&P 500, but at the end of the day, it's got to be a public equity. Private equity is totally different. What I mean by that is private equity fund manager X is going to have a portfolio of investments that is mutually exclusive from every single other private equity fund manager. Because of that, there really won't be any correlation. Why is the private equity asset class still attractive, even with the criticism from Buffett and Munger? My key takeaway is there is an appetite to participate in a market that is not represented by the public stock markets. Of course, we've all heard of Apple, Google, these huge companies. Those are all really great success stories, but do you really want all your money there, or do you want to diversify? I mean, my personal take is I want to diversify. It also allows you to participate in a market of equities that is far larger in terms of numbers than the public equity markets. All private equity firms are not created equally. There are going to be firms that do a terrible job growing the companies that they invest in. There are going to be companies they acquire, they go out of business. They do a terrible job. And on the flip side, there's going to be private equity fund managers that make investments that are able to take a small company and grow it into a public company candidate. Second, with increased variability among fund managers, there's the increased potential for alpha. Alpha is the term that has been created specifically as it relates to investing, and it represents the delta in terms of positive performance as compared to a benchmark. In this situation, the private equity fund managers that are really good have the potential to drastically outperform their peers. That's great, but just stresses the importance of your diligence in either investing in a private equity fund or in selecting which private equity fund should be the buyer of your business. It's always risky disagreeing with two greats like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and I realize that there's the potential for me to get some strong reactions from folks to say that I'm an idiot or I'm way off base. And for those folks, I get it. My email address is here. Let me know what you really think. But if anybody has anything positive to say, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'd love to hear from you.